No gel plate? No problem. I have an easy solution for how you can quickly make these backgrounds with what you already have. Hi everyone, it's Steph here from Chaos in the Craft Room. Thank you so much for joining today's Quick Tips video series. If you are new and like this video, I would love your support by clicking the like and subscribe button. And for those who have already subscribed, welcome back, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. Okay, so let's get started. So I use just a plastic pocket for my gel plate alternative and just put a few pieces of thick paper in it to keep it sturdy to make these backgrounds. Or you could just use a piece of thick acetate as well. So unlike a gel plate, this plastic pocket obviously doesn't have the stickiness to it. So we will be working on top of the surface and placing our paper on top of it rather than with a gel plate, how you can flip it upside down. Okay, so for number one, I'm using the Distress ink pads, and I just start by wiping the Distress ink pad onto the plastic pocket and then spray it with a bit of water. And the amount of water that you add really depends on the type of look that you're going for. The more water you add, so like in this first example, I'm adding a lot of water. It's about 25 sprays from this really small bottle, and it wasn't spraying too well, but it is quite wet. And you can see that when I push the bit of paper on top, I just wipe it down, and I lift it up, and you can see there that it gives quite a watery effect. And I really like that for the base background. I then use up the excess ink that's on the plastic pocket and just use another bit of paper, because you may as well make numerous backgrounds while you're going, and use up the ink as well to make sure nothing is wasted. And then I either put them aside to dry, which I've done this time, or you can use the any sort of drying tool to dry it quickly. To then give another layer of color, I usually, once it's dry, I go back in and add a bit more ink onto the plastic pocket, but add less water so it gives a bolder look. I just press down sections of the paper to give that sporadic look in the background. And if you're wanting more white in the background, you can just do it this way to begin with, and not use the initial layer that we did. As always, I will show you the cards that I made at the end of the video with these papers for your interest and inspiration. I will have chapters throughout the video to make it easy for you to watch what you are interested in. And then while you're going, you may as well add another color. So I'm doing blue, and I really love this effect with blue because it does give a underwater or cloud-like effect. So I find it a great background to use in numerous situations. Even a really nice pool, you could die cut part of it and add it to a pool in a scene that you're creating. And I did just want to show you here how it looks if you don't add any water. And if you just press down the bit of paper straight onto it, you can see just those streaks and lines on the paper. So do make sure you add a little bit of water. However, it's not a big deal if you accidentally get some streaks on your page, as you can go over that with some more ink and it will cover it up, no problem at all. To clean the page, I just use some water and a cloth to wipe it down, and then I can straight away use it for the next color. So for number two, I'm using the Distress Stain. Now you can use water with these as well. However, I wanted to show you how it looks without using the water. And I just wipe the ink onto the plastic pocket, and you can add numerous colors at once if you want to. Now, I will give you a warning, this looks like an absolute mess to start with. However, just be patient with me, and I'll show you the card that I've created at the very end to show you how this can look. And once it's dry, I can also go in and add a bit more color from using the Distress ink pads that we did in the example number one, and just to add a bit more brightness and a bit more green to this background. Now, I know it still looks like a mess, but I promise it does turn out really nice card, and it is a really nice way to also use that mixed media look. And you can use it on colored backgrounds as well. You don't need to start with a white piece of paper. So for number 3, you can create these backgrounds using alcohol inks. Now you can create the whole background using the alcohol inks and isopropyl alcohol, or what I'm going to show you in this example is adding the alcohol ink on top of the dried distress ink backgrounds that we made in example 1. And this way I find when I use the gold alcohol ink, it adds a lovely bit of shine and shimmer to the card. And I find it really brings something special to the card. So for this, instead of using the water, obviously I'm just using alcohol or alcohol blending solution, whichever you prefer. And depending how much you add, it might not spread as well as the water on the plastic pocket. So I do sometimes just also use a paintbrush to spread it around if I'm not wanting too much on there. It really depends on the ink that you're using as well. I always find my gold alcohol ink doesn't spread as well as some of the other colors, but it obviously doesn't spread as well as Yupo paper. But I'm really wanting that more sporadic gold look, so it works really well for this card. All right, so now to show you the cards that I've created with these backgrounds. And if you do create any of these backgrounds and make cards with them, I would love for you to tag me in them in Facebook or Instagram so I can see what you've created as well. So I just love this background. I've just gone over it with a bit of a darker ink with these cards, and you can see glimpses of white in there as well. And obviously I've heat embossed the beautiful on this card, which makes it really stand out, and inked around the edges to create a bit of a border. Now this is the card that I told you turned out really well with those distress stains, which looked like a real mess to begin with, but worked out really well. So I love this mixed media look. And this is a card where I've used the gold alcohol ink on top of the distress ink, and it has a really nice shine when I tilt it in certain angles, and I hope you can see that okay on the video, but I just love the shimmer this card has. And I created another card again with this paper. I just absolutely love it. I enjoyed it so much that I also went and made a few different colors with a similar effect. For this card, I've used the red distress ink with the gold alcohol ink on top, and I've just die cut that. So you don't need to use the whole piece of paper. Remember, you can die cut them out, and this is the inner heart of the card that I created previously. And you can create such simple, elegant cards, and this bold color with that gold on it just stands out really nicely. And this is my blue distress ink background, which I've just used with some clouds on top and a fun happy birthday card. But it's a really simple way to get a bit of color in your background. And I didn't show you how I made this background, but this was just using my alcohol inks again. Just there was a purple and pink that I used, just really simply using it the exact same way as I used the gold, but just with the color straight onto the white piece of paper. And then on this card, it was the same bit of paper. I just like how it's got some of the white between the alcohol ink, and it's a really quick way to create cards because it can just be the feature piece on the card. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'd love for you to like and subscribe to this video, and I can't wait to see you next time.